Hey, y'all, come on in. Welcome to our Dia de los Muertos day.
And you're in time for our third Barbershop de los Muertos from Murphy and McNeil.
It's a beautiful morning with the Barbershop Duet.
Hi, I'm Marcus Klinger with Klinger Vocal Studio.
And I'm Sarah Vincent with Sarah Vincent Virtual Pilates.
But on Wednesdays and Saturdays.
We are the Barbershop Duet.
Hey, y'all, come on in. It's great to see you. We're so grateful you found our little barbershop. If you happen to be here during one of the live premieres on YouTube, we're waiting to meet you. Come on in, grab a chair and meet the Whiff Pack, a cool group of folks from all over the world hanging out. They'd love to meet you too, and none of them wear pants.
No, they don't, but they would love to meet you. And for our mention today, we wanted to do something a little different.
Y'all, today is Dia de los Muertos, the day where traditionally some cultures remember those who have passed on. So, in the comments of today's video, if there's anybody who's passed on recently or long ago that you'd like to remember or tell us a little fun or funny story about them, let's put it in the comments today. In fact, I'll start. My grandmother's name was Della Jean, and she came out from Kansas during World War II, and she was little, but she remembers with her mom driving north along the coast of California, and she said they had to turn off their headlights because a blackout was in effect. Y'all. So one of my favorite stories about her was she was a chain smoker. Bel Air menthol cigarettes, the blue package. In fact, she saved up enough of those coupons to get a whole set of luggage and a bunch of other stuff. And she took one giant trip her whole life. And when she was getting on the plane to go to London, she took one of those bags and handed it back to my grandfather and said, "Here, take this home." And he was like, "What's in this?" And she goes, "It's all my cigarettes. I brought like 9 cartons for the trip.
Yeah.
I figured it's time to quit, and I'm just going to be so distracted, I don't even think I'm going to care." And that's what happened. My grandfather, during that trip, was playing slot machine on the Atari 2600 and hit the cars for the first time. That man called her, woke her up in London to tell her that. She was like, "What? Why do you tell, what? I hit the cars! I hit the cars!" She was like, "What car did you hit?" Those were my grandparents.
And for my grandma's story, my grandma Vincent Orditas, as most people know her, she was one of 13 from the Philippines, raised there, and then came here and married my grandpa the pilot, and they had 5 kids. So she was kind of conquering the house while he was out flying the world, and she was a realtor, and she made sure everything got done. Nothing could stop her. She was such a confident woman. Only 4'10", but she stood and she meant something. So there's so many fun memories that everyone would talk about, but one thing that was funny to me, because she's super religious, she always did her prayers. Everything had a rule. You do what you're supposed to do. Right. That was that household. Yeah. So as soon as I could start driving, I kind of drove her a lot because she had a stroke and a double bypass surgery. So she kind of was a little less mobile. But my sister and I would kind of go with her, and she'd take us out to lunch so she could have lunch, but we got to drive her. And I remember the first time she grabbed all the Splenda and sugar off the counter, and she said, "Put this in my purse." And I was appalled. My grandma was making me steal. I couldn't tell her no. You don't tell this woman no. So it was just funny. That became the running joke. Every time we went to a restaurant, my sister and I would hide the sugar. Don't let grandma see.
When she is in a moral dilemma, y'all, she freezes. One time we were at Disneyland trying to pass off some expired fast passes. She turned into a statue.
Quite a dilemma. And then later on, it became a joke that grandma would, "Don't worry, grandma's going to make you steal half the silverware." It just became a thing.
So like when she died, did you find a Splenda cabinet somewhere?
No, but her little purse was, Splenda was expensive. She wasn't having that. So after she had diabetes and stuff, she had to have the good sugar. So
there you go, y'all. Hey, it's just sitting there on the table. And what's our soap today?
So this is our third for the Barbershop de los Muertos from Murphy and McNeil. We've had these 2 friends so far, and they have been wonderful. Both homages, something similar, something's a little different. So I'm really curious to see what this third homage may be.
Yeah, y'all, and they are in the same lane. So we kind of decided that these are about 30 to 50% similar, and it's in the differences and the nuance that we're finding the real mysteries and wonders here. So I'm excited to see if that third one's going to be more of a vast divergence, or if we have another little amigo to add to our little trio here. But there's one way to find out. Let's meet the show. All right, y'all. So from the sales page at murphyandmcneil.com.
John Perry and Rafa of Chicana Designs, in collaboration with Bill Graham of Murphy and McNeil, present to you Barbershop de los Muertos 3. This is the culmination of a few years of work and fun for us. And although this could very well be the final Barbershop de los Muertos, it refuses to go out quietly.
The original Barbershop de los Muertos was a small release, yet very well received and had many people wishing they'd gotten in on it. Last year, we presented Barbershop de los Muertos 2, which was also incredibly well received. Yeah, they were both awesome soaps. Well, we also, at that time, used that opportunity to work together to bring a Barbershop de los Muertos 1 back to Murphy and McNeil in the Aeon soap base. The response was phenomenal, and we can't thank the community enough for their support.
Now it's time for the three-peat. Barbershop de los Muertos 3 is here, featuring more amazing artwork by Rafa of Chicano Design. This scent features, for the first time, a female protagonist on our label. Wow, we didn't even know. We were just going for the grandma vibes, and it totally works. Okay, as always with Rafa, she's a beautiful addition to the Barbershop de los Muertos family.
The scent is inspired by Guerlain's Home Intense. This is a bold scent of the type that you come to expect from Barbershop de los Muertos. It's green, boozy, woody, and we love it. Ooh. I couldn't think of a better scent to send this trilogy back to the crypt, having fulfilled its dark plans.
Okay. Thanks sincerely from all of us. We really appreciate this ride, and we hope you love Barbershop de los Muertos 3.
So y'all, let's let this one out of the box.
Last one in the box.
From Murphy and McNeil, y'all. There it is.
Wow, I didn't even realize that's beautiful. Why there was a lady on the front. You can tell by her lovely hair and her
and the flags from Dia de los Muertos are behind it.
Those ones
very cool. And then the logos of the contributors are there on the side as well.
All in the theme of things. And then this one, I think, let's see. Oh yeah, this is the Kodiak base. So we got a different one for this one.
I think there's bear in there. Is there bear in this? There's bear in there! All right, so we are barely containing our excitement. Let's have a first impression.
So since I did the last two, and they were masculine ones, I'm going to make Marcus do this one as the somewhat feminine one.
I don't know if it's a feminine scent, but it's definitely a feminine label.
Let's see. Right, it may not be, but there are some commonalities with the other two, so I'm curious how this one plays into that combo.
We were kind of surprised that these were 30 to 50% bedfellows for us. There's some real similarities between 1 and 2, so let's see if 3 continues
and
on.
And even in that description, they kind of hinted at, like, right into the lane of things.
It's in the family. We might have the 3 amigos here in front of us. Let's find out. Here we go.
The 3-peat. Let's see.
Dusty Bottoms.
Oh, different?
Y'all, the pour is different. Look at that. Oh, very smooth.
It is a different base, maybe.
It's the bear.
It's the bear. These are not vegan soaps.
Oh, that's clever. That's lovely. Okay, the way these two are similar in the base, this is similar to both of these, but only in the high notes. So yes, they are cousins, but these two have similar hair, and these two have similar hats. Y'all, a lovely citrus, a lovely spice, hinting at a wood that doesn't go too far in that direction. And it's the same kind of a citrus that these two have. A lovely, leafy, flowery, dapper, masculine citrus that doesn't go too far in any of the sour, bitter directions.
All right.
And then, y'all, okay, there's a certain word that we can't say because of certain algorithmic entanglements with YouTube, but if I were to suggest that there were notes of cannibals in this, would you know what I meant? So this has got a little bit of a lovely kind of comforting cannibals smell hiding in there for me.
That type of a herby kind of scent. Right. Instead of the spices, more of that maybe.
Right. And then the lights are what's similar here for me. So the lemon is similar. The way that the edges are taken off the citrus. And a little bit of that high wood, that beautiful, spicy, citrusy wood scent is here without it going anywhere dark. There's nothing like oak or like any of that kind of darker woods in this.
The deeper side's different.
And yeah, this stays on the lights that she shares with these. So the same way that the second one kind of dove down into some tobacco and patchoulis, this doesn't. This stays in the sunlight. Oh, this is not.
There was a little mention of boozy in there. Do you get the boozy vibe?
Yes, kind of in a tequila way, if that makes sense.
Fitting.
So you know how if you smell like a whiskey, that's kind of more of your spicy, herbier boozes, where a tequila is a little bit more of like a cactus flower kind of a boozy sense to it. And that's kind of what this has got hiding under the surface. Hold on. And it's sweeter. Not a lot, but it's subtly sweeter than these two. These are doing their charm and whimsy with spice and wood and those things. This is doing it with a little bit of a little bit of a floral.
Okay.
I'm gonna say it, but
So
it's
maybe
a little bit
that's
of
the more feminine-y
different one.
ish.
Yeah. This is more of a spicy, like warm summer flower. I think is what's happening here.
I think marigolds are the kind of ones that are associated with Day of Muertos. So I don't know the smell necessarily.
That would be inspired.
But I don't know. I just saying.
Right. We're not saying it's in here, but no, there's anything wrong with that.
That type of a
Right,
floral,
yeah.
maybe.
Oh, nothing at all gourmandy, but I have smelled teas that were about 60% this, and it's amazing. So a little
Okay,
bit of
so
a
the
sense
spice
of
is that
a
way.
black tea,
Herbs, maybe.
under the surface in this. That's as dark as it gets. So not a patchouli, not a tobacco, like a black tea. That's as far down as this goes, and I love this.
There's not much of the earthy side like we were getting in the first one,
No.
right? None of that
No.
side either.
So y'all, I love that what I can recognize in this is a fabulous citrus, a little bit of a soapy, clean cologne sense in the middle, some woods and spices on the way out, but all of them, like I said, on the lighter woody Chypre sides. There's not even much of a fougere in this, I
Okay.
don't think. Ooh.
Look at all those fancy words we've learned over a year.
And y'all, what I like is that these are not three completely strange bedfellows. These are your three amigos. They are in a similar uniform, but they're going to have subtly different personalities. And I love that they have found three lovely colognes that are in that sort of same
So is
lane.
this one still more on the masculine cologne side versus...
It is. This is definitely on the masculine cologne side. However, I think if you were a lady type and you did need to gravitate to a Barbershop Duet Muertos, this
one could
would
work.
be your pony.
Okay.
It's not so much that like these would help you kind of remember your fella, smell like his suit coat kind of a thing. This is more like its own thing. You could pull this off.
All right. I'm curious. Can I get my nose up in there?
Yes. All right,
Is
here
it?
you go.
I've waited long enough. And a new base. That's fun, too.
I know there's bear in there. How do you get bear fat? How do you like,
Florals meets... I'm getting a mint in here. How did you not notice a mint? Marcus is the mint king. He loves his
Thank
spearmint.
you. Absolutely.
Smell now.
You're right. You know what? Wait.
His brain just broke.
It's almost like the woods and florals, if you look at them like this, are completely mint.
Yep.
And if you look at them like this, are woods and florals.
His brain just broke.
You're right. Well, I was looking at it like this.
I
but
know.
once you went, wait a minute. Don't you see that? Wait a minute. Yeah.
We often talk about finding like the keynote that brings you in.
Right.
And it's funny that my nose went to the mint immediately and you were looking for like the combo of the other two, I think.
Well, I like it's the power of suggestion
It
too,
is.
a little
It
bit. Like when
totally
you
is.
see a scent note or when you see a label and your brain is expecting something.
Right.
There's a little bit of the placebo effect where you're gonna be right regardless.
true.
But you're absolutely right. Well, what's fun though, and why I think I'm not completely crazy, is if I do go back to smelling for the citrus and wood,
Right.
it is there. So
It is.
I can turn it into mint, but I can turn it back.
Uh-huh.
But yo, what a great way to describe the way the citrus and wood are coming together. It becomes its own spearmint.
I would agree. It's funny because the florals in this are more at the backside
Right.
than I was expecting just from your description. But now that I'm smelling them in here, you need those other parts to make them work.
Right.
So there are the lighter woods that are kind of in the other two. I think they're the same. Cedarwoodish, maybe. And then I don't get as much as the citrus as I was expecting, but it is sweet, and it must be the floral meets the minty side that's almost
Right.
a gourmandy kind of a hint at
Almost,
something. It's
right.
not, but they're blended together to create something new.
I think all three of these are almost a gourmand, and that's
You think?
part of their charm. There's nothing in this gourmand, but there is something that is almost, I'd like to brew that in a tea.
Yeah, I think there might even be basil in this. Like all of these have those spices going on. I do see where you are almost getting the cannibal vibes, but I can't decide if that's more other spices in there, if it is, or it could be like a chewed tobacco. Like
Right.
there's something in there that's a little more herby.
And kind of just like Otto the bus driver's jacket. When I
Right.
talk about cannibals, like that's kind of the sense that I
Just
get.
the
like that.
leftover effect,
Yeah,
yeah.
just like little residual whiffs and
But
inside
I
of a
think that's
leather
why I
to a
almost
sense.
get like the chewed tobacco side, because
Right.
I'm not getting anything smoky.
Right,
So, or maybe just the more herby base of
And
it.
it's funny, there's nothing smoky in any of these, nothing incensey in any of these. There's nothing churchy really
No,
about any
no.
of these either.
And there is the bright side to this, which I
Right.
think it's the combo of the sweeter floral. So maybe another orange blossomy thing or something like that.
Maybe.
Because we had the lemon leaves, we had the other stuff that was kind of hinting at it.
Right.
But it's a sweeter floral.
And This is the moment you have all been waiting for because I know what you want to know. You want to know, does bear fat react with water in a better way than everybody else's fat interacts with water when it comes to building a shaving lather? So, y'all, these are our bougie sticks from Amazon.com, and this is exactly how much soap I'm going to use. And this is my Haley's Artisan Sprinkles bowl. I love this. And if you have one of these, don't use the honeycomb along the sides. Push your soap into the ridges on the bottom of the bowl like that, and use the honeycomb on the side to help build the lather.
There is still the duck fat in this as well as beef tallow and bear tallow.
So y'all, just after my mama passed away, I was talking to Craig at Opus Brush, who had created these. This is the Tiki brush based on the Brady Bunch. And I told him, my mom and I used to watch the Brady Bunch every day at 4 o'clock and 4:30. I will take that brush. So this is kind of what I got to help remember my mama, and I love it. It's got a Manchurian knot, and it's just one of the most luxurious things. Doug Lane and I agree. The Badger brushes are for your more luxurious shades.
Right.
And you have a few extra minutes.
Soak your brush, kind of put some thought into what you're going to shave with. Not the quick rush shave to get out the door.
So y'all, if these are singers, this is your soprano.
Yep.
Beautiful. Everything in the high notes and knows just what to do with them. This one I'd say is more your tenor. A little bit more on those beautiful high tones, but it's also got some lovely bassier stuff going on. And then this, the OG. This is your bass, y'all. This has got those beautiful rich tones going on.
Notes.
But they are all Osmond brothers, so they're all related. They all have kind of a similar tone in their voice.
Yes.
Just slightly different parts of where they are in the top.
And different enough that I think you'd want all 3 scents.
Right.
It's not like they're too close that you're like, I already have that.
That is an important distinction. I don't think these are close enough where you would be like, well, if I have 2, I'm good. No,
Right.
these
They're all
bring
different enough.
distinct personalities into the equation.
Just a similar, theme or vibe maybe, but
Right.
how they're getting there is completely different.
And that's very cool. Sometimes I feel like if there is a beach scent, the shaving world kind of leaves it at that, right?
Right,
But it's
there it is.
I kind of love it if every artisan took on their version of the beach, but I'm California kid, I'm a beachy
True.
guy.
But having that 3-tier, it's not just
Right.
one, but there's
I
other
like
perspectives.
having variations on a theme when it comes to shaving soaps. If somebody else makes a Fruit Loop soap, I will hit purchase.
True.
Chicago Grooming, we need that animal cracker soap
True.
to come
If
out.
anyone can put a
immediately.
request
I check
in.
that daily.
Especially Marcus's birthday episodes are coming up. That would be a great contender. I think things are happening. I'm getting whips, and this is closed.
Wow, y'all beautiful. If citrus could masquerade as a sunrise, that's what this is.
Ooh, I do feel like these are all sunrise kind of
Wow,
scents. That's a
love
good way to put it.
Well, it's almost like the sun may be going down on your time here,
Right.
but in the ofrenda world where things are just dawning, maybe this is helping get you out of the grave. Who knows? And y'all, I'm assuming it's harder to get bear fat than it is to get duck fat, because I've seen ducks and I've seen bears. It's worth the effort. Are you kidding? Look.
You can't even see those grooves anymore.
You can't see the bowl.
They're gone.
You can't even see the bowl. And y'all, while we don't do shaving here on the Barbershop Duet, we do know that there is great value of y'all being able to see how this lather does coat the face. So while we don't do shaving, I will do that. Y'all, look at that. Beautiful.
Oh, that even
how
smells better
coats the
here.
face. I know.
This woke up some things.
This is a different base than the other two, so let's do a slickness test here. Oh, that does feel different.
It's a little different. They're great slickness compared to the other base too. Totally equal quality, but it does feel a little different. There's a little more slime happening.
It is. And you know what's funny? It feels slicker.
Yep.
But I can feel under my stubble a little better.
That's a good way to put it.
I wouldn't
agree
think those
with that.
two would come together,
Yes.
but here we are.
Somehow slicker, but it's still keeping that same traction.
If you have tried the Kodiak base, put in the comments.
Yeah. Is there menthol in here? Do you feel any menthol? Maybe it's just cold water.
Yes. And there is one way to be sure about that. Let's take a look at the scent notes. All right, y'all. So back to the sales page at Murphy and McNeil. I do see here that my beloved is way right. Way right. So let's start here.
Top notes of mint.
There it is. Right off the top. And then
That's a new one.
straight up rhubarb leaf. Y'all, rhubarb pie
I guess.
hiding under the surface of this.
Kind of that sweet but not too sweet
I
thing.
love that. And then,
And then rum.
y'all, if you are from Minnesota and you do know your rhubarb pie, think about rhubarb with mint and rum. That's where the rum's gone. It makes perfect sense to me.
Okay.
And we kind of are right about this. A singular masculine flower alone as the mid note. I give you
geranium.
y'all.
So not marigolds,
Brilliant.
but still a solid floral.
No, but doing all the job
Yep,
of marigold.
It is.
Almost as spicy as marigold, but with a slightly friendlier, sweeter nose.
exactly.
Right? So that's what it's doing.
A little more a nice gentle side
And
to the
then
floral.
base notes.
Yeah.
Some friends and some enemies here, y'all. We start with patchouli, but not in the way that you're used to if you went to school with me in San Francisco State. However, it is darker than most. It does have a tiny wisp of dank to it, I would say, with this patchouli.
Maybe,
A tiny
yeah.
wisp. But that is offset by these next two because you've got cedar and vetiver rounding out
Which
the
I
base
think were
notes.
in the other two. So there's
Right.
some things that do overlap.
And
The
this
different leaves
is
and
the
those.
commonality, I think, is the cedar vetiver base. And I would not be surprised if all of these kind of from their originals
Right.
had a similar thing that maybe went back to the Tom Ford in 2007. But we'll
Right.
have to check out when dates these came
I'm
out.
curious, yeah. But it's super cool to have scents like these because we wouldn't have found any of these fragrances.
Right.
Like, we weren't really frag people going into this, but having soaps help us find them,
Right.
I do really enjoy seeing how refreshing and
Yes.
clean and like the overall vibe of these
Right.
do come off as
Yeah.
a barbershop. I think the third is the friendliest of the three.
I would say that.
Right,
I
like
would
we were
agree.
saying, like, but it does, not on purpose and not intentional.
Right.
But we were bringing up the grandmas and nanas today, so there is something of that gentle feminine side that sort of comes through.
Yeah.
Still a confident kind of solid scent.
Right.
But it does have a little bit more of that gentler side.
And I think this is by far the one with more of a feminine idea to
Right,
it, right?
right.
Like this could go more down the middle. but
I'm with you.
I think this is more like her grandpa's. This is more of that friendly, congenial,
Definitely.
like barbershop scent. And then this is a little bit more of those spicier great grandfathers who you might have heard whispered stories about in dark
Right.
corners of family reunions.
So now that we've smelled the third one, I think it's time we take all of our three friends and go a little bit deeper.
I still love how the mint is turning into citrus and then back into mint. So this is the is you is or is you ain't my mint with. On three,
Okay.
1, 2.
I don't know if I know rhubarb enough, but there's something that's a little more honey, spice,
Right.
amber, something. So that must be more the rhubarb side.
And as soon as I started diving into is this mint or citrus, that's where the cannibals came out, like singing a song. So I know it's not in the scent notes.
Right?
But y'all put in the comments if you have smelled this. There's some people eating things in here they shouldn't be eating. There's a great line in Ryan Murphy's miniseries Feud where they're talking about Joan Crawford dying, and the woman being interviewed looks up at the interviewer and says at the end, "By the way, is your grandmother still alive?" And he goes, "Yeah." And she goes, "You should call her." Always loved that.
Yeah.
Because there's stuff that I discovered about my grandma, like after she died, that I
Right.
would have loved to have asked her about. And it's funny, when we think about our grandparents, we do kind of sometimes grasp at straws to describe them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why sometimes memory tends to fade, but like I know nothing relatively about my great grandparents.
Right.
So it is cool that like I was going through her stuff and I found this book of shorthand. And I was like, what is this witchcraft? I've never
Right.
seen this before. And somebody said, oh, Nana used to be a secretary back in the day and she knew shorthand. Like take a letter, like I'm going to dictate
Right.
a letter and she could write it down.
Crazy.
Y'all, our grandparents are amazing.
And I am super grateful that my grandma is still alive. She's 90. And it's so fun to talk to her of like the phases of life that she's witnessed in all her years on this planet. Like now we have like touch screens. You know, it's just, she's great on an iPad. Let me tell you, I am
she
so
was.
impressed, does all the emails, everything. But it is cool to have someone in your life that you can really get the full perspective of like what's happened in this last century. And we can talk about it and how different movies and stuff that we've seen. I'm very grateful that I can call her up and have a wonderful conversation with her and that she is 90 and still kicking it.
Right. Yet it is cool that I do remember one thing about my great grandmother. When I was really little, my mom brought her here from Santa Rosa where she had her little convalescent hospital. And we took her on a ride on a BART train. It stands for Bay Area Rapid Transit. It's like our subway. And she's on this train and it takes off from the station in El Cerrito. And she started to tear up. And my mom said, what's the matter? Didn't you think this was cool?
Yeah.
And she said, who's driving this? And my mom said, well, there's like somebody in the front of the train, but they don't really drive it. It's driven by a computer in Oakland. And like, she started to cry. And my mom said, what's the matter? Grandma, I thought
sorry,
you'd like
yeah.
this. And she said, I came here in a covered wagon. And now I am riding a model train set
On a
in
rail.
real life, being driven by a computer in Oakland. The tears were grateful that she got to see everything that she got to see.
Right.
And someday, my brothers and sisters, they are going to sing songs about those of us that were there when the internet was invented. It's a really important time, and it's why we can be here with you today. So we are so grateful for all of these stories, and we're so grateful for Murphy and McNeil for creating a Dia de los Muertos set so that we can talk about those who have gone before us, because that's part of what the hobby's all about anyway.
It is, and it's fun because the sense that we get to experience often remind us of experiences with our grandparents or someone that we lost. Like, you really feel and you can smell, and you it just takes you there as soon as you get a whiff. I know it can be an emotional experience and you're not expecting it, but we are super grateful for the little transportive soaps that we've found because of that reason.
There were a couple of perfumes my mom wore that I don't know what they were, so I'm just waiting to smell those again someday in some lost, forgotten corner of a thrift shop and have my mama back with me for a second. The nose is the sense that is most hardwired to the brain, so it makes perfect sense to me.
It's really easy for us to go on our day-to-day autopilot and forget how much that your sense of smell can really be part of those memories. So I'm very grateful this whole last year that we've done this show, that it really makes us much more appreciative of scent and where it takes us.
Yes, and if there is someone who has gone before you, who this hobby has brought you closer to, put it in the comments. Make a permanent record of it. Let us know who they were. Tell us a little something about them. So it's pretty simple, y'all. Just be with your best friend out in the woods hunting bears so that you can make a Kodiak base. Well, your gun's gonna jam and be completely useless as that bear starts charging at both of you. Well, you're gonna stop and put on your shoes. Your friend is gonna say, "What are you doing? You have to outrun the bear." And you're gonna say, "No, I don't have to outrun the bear. I just have to outrun you." And you just got your own. So head over to murphyandmcneil.com where you'll find this and a bunch of other stuff I want right now. Well, I've had my shave, y'all, with Barbershop de los Muertos 3, and I think what I love about this, it's the soprano of this little trio. It's got those beautiful high notes of citrus and mint, while keeping that lovely, spicy, masculine foundation. And this formula, y'all, as my razor went bearing down on my stubble, it knew exactly what to do. I think that tallow gives it a little special softening to the post-shave feel, but who knows? I think there is something special about that as a Kodiak moment. Thank you! Welcome to Messages.
So we've had so much fun getting our hands on these soaps that we wanted to give you a chance to as well. So we are going to offer a $20 gift card to Murphy and McNeil.
Yeah, y'all, that's going to be our November giveaway. And to be eligible, all you have to do is send us an email here to WeSentYou@theBarbershopDuet.com so that we can get back to you. It's the only way we communicate about our giveaways. And then check back here for the first of our Christmas episodes when we announce our lucky winner on the show in December.
Best of luck.
All right, so we never do this on the Barbershop Duet. Which one was your favorite today?
You know, I think not just because this has the gal on the front, but I think there's something about the mint and the bergamot sweet kind of side, even that rhubarb thing, now that we've read it, that really kind of knocked my socks off more than I was expecting.
I might agree with you. And well, I love this one because it smells the most like Joel. Love that. This one, I think, smells the most like me.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's a fun, timeless, just gentle, masculine side.
Kind of like an ebony fumet hiding in there somewhere. Just, I know it's a Tom Ford. I can feel the fingerprint.
But I'm super grateful for the first one for starting all of this wonderful legacy, and that we now have all three in our den. They definitely have a place for us.
Right. And hey, to the community for keeping these alive. These wouldn't be here if y'all didn't keep buying them and demanding them. So we're so happy these are still here, and so happy you can still get them at Murphy and McNeil.
Yeah, go check it out.
And y'all, my mom was a singer her whole life. So when I had to pick a song to end her memorial service this year, I chose one by Noel Coward. And I think it's just as fitting for us here in the shaving soap world as we end our Dia de los Muertos Day together. We shall still be together when our life stories end. For wherever we chance to go, we will always be friends.
Don't forget your next appointment with the Barbershop Duet.
You'll smell better just watching this.